Welcome to Mr. Football 2013, presented by the Louisiana Sports Writers Association and Louisiana Farm Bureau Insurance Companies. I'm your host, Aaron Cofield. Well, the class of 2014 was packed with talented players that led NCAA scouts to football stadiums throughout the state. With so many heavily recruited players in our area, the competition for the coveted Mr. Football Award could have gone to any number of highly sought-after players like Speedy Noyle, Malachi Dupree, or Trey Quinn. Any of them could have easily walked away with the honor. But there's one player whose combination of speed, power, vision, and football IQ made the staff of ESPN's Recruiting Nation do something out of the ordinary and put a running back at number 1 on their list of the top 300 prep players in the country. Leonard Fournette, the number 1 recruit in the nation, has won several awards and honors this season. He has been named the Louisiana Sports Writers Association's Mr. Football 2013. I am joined now by an LSWA member and a writer for the Times-Picayune and NOLA.com, Jarrett Roser. Thank you so much for joining us here. Now, I know I saw you throughout the football season very often on Thursday and Friday nights. Just what is your best memory from this year?
We were talking about this earlier. It's so hard to limit it down to one. So many big things happened this year, so many big performances by kids all over the state. One thing that certainly as something at the end stood out is that great story with Union Parish coming home with a state championship after everything they had been through, just dedicating the season to Jaleel Gibson. And so that's one that I'll probably have stick with me for a long time, but it's just so many options to answer that question.
Now, I know you saw a lot of good games as the season went on, but you also saw a lot of great players. This class has a lot of different recruits. Would you consider this to be, one of the best classes we've had in this area?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Obviously, I'm a relatively young guy, so I can't speak too deep back into history, but I think a lot of folks look at this as being one of the best recruiting classes that Louisiana has had, maybe ever, maybe the best ever. Leonard is a big part of that, but so are all those other guys you mentioned. I just got back from the Under Armour game in Florida where in the few years that they'd been having that, they'd had 14 guys from Louisiana ever be a part of that. This year there were 13, plus you look at some of the other guys that didn't get a chance to go there but are fantastic players in their own right, maybe went to the Army game or are going to play college somewhere for sure.
Well, and you look, and even in the NFL, there's a lot of guys from South Louisiana that are in the NFL and come up through the ranks. What do you think it is about South Louisiana or just Louisiana even, that just produces such great athletes?
Yeah, I've asked coaches and players that question before because it's something that folks in Louisiana tout pretty regularly, that per capita Louisiana provides maybe the most NFL players of any state, because you look at how many guys come from California or Texas, but obviously there's a lot more folks to choose from in those places. I don't know if it's, just the upbringing and how big football is in the state or what it may be, but people take it very seriously and it pans out to that degree.
All right, well, this show is about this year's Mr. Football, Leonard Fournette. You've seen him play a number of times. What is it to you that really just stands out about him?
Football-wise, it's the fact that he can do everything so well. He ended up with, I think, almost 3,700 all-purpose yards this year in 11 games, which is more than 300 all-purpose yards a game, and obviously known for his running ability, 1,800 yards rushing, a whole bunch of touchdowns. St. Augustine used him heavily in the passing game, both as a receiver where he caught passes for more than 700 yards and a few touchdowns. He completed 21 of 32 passes as a quarterback, which is almost 66% as a quarterback, which is pretty phenomenal for a high school quarterback, let alone predominantly a high school running back to do that. Played a bunch on defense, kicked for him, punted for him, returned kicks. And honestly, maybe what he meant to them as a leader and just his personality and all those things stands out even more than all the work he did on the field.
Well, I know you went to Florida for that Under Armour All-American game when Leonard made his decision and committed to LSU. Just take me through that moment. I know as someone who follows recruiting, that's something that a lot of people across the nation have been waiting to see what he would do. So where were you for that moment, and just what was your reaction?
I was probably about 10 feet away, as close as ESPN would let anyone that didn't work for ESPN get. I was right there when he announced Booga Nation going to LSU, and you know, it was something that I think we expected for the most part, but you never really know until the last minute for sure. Absolutely a huge get for LSU from a recruiting standpoint. Maybe the biggest prospect that they've ever had come to LSU, just because Leonard is one of the biggest prospects ever. And as I said, I think later that night, if not, it might have been the next day, and I just touched on a second ago, his off-field character and all those things stand out. As great of a player as he is, might be an even better person. Hopefully he hangs on to this Mr. Football award, because he's gotten awards and passed them off to other guys. Very humbly said, you know, I think Eugene Wells deserves the award for New Orleans area player. Yet a teammate recently tell one of my coworkers, Leonard's a guy that if he has $1, he'll still give you 50 cents. And there's just an endless supply of stories like that along the way.
All right, Jared, thanks so much for joining us. When we return, I'll be joined by sponsors of the Mr. Football Award and the Cox 4 Game of the Week. It'll be representatives from Louisiana Farm Bureau Insurance.
I went number 86 because Jordan Centennial. His mother passed away last week from breast cancer, and he asked me to wear his jersey 86, and that's what I did. You know, it was very special to me and to him, because my first time ever wearing someone else's jersey. You know, I'm used to wearing 5, but, you know, I did it for him and did it for
Welcome back to Mr. Football. I'm joined now by Executive Vice President and State Manager for Louisiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Blaine Briggs, and also State Sales Manager, Will Waldrop. Guys, thank you so much for coming down here with us, and thank you for your support of local high school athletics and just athletics in the community. Blaine, I know as we were discussing earlier, it's something that it's really very important to the folks at Louisiana Farm Bureau Insurance.
It really is. We've been doing business in Louisiana for over 60 years, and we have agents and employees throughout the state. And quite honestly, we look at it as a community service. They enjoy participating and being involved, and we certainly enjoy being a part of the community.
Well, so what are some of the things that the Bureau agents will do regarding supporting athletics?
Well, in every parish, we have participation in all different levels of athletics, but you know, we really are particular to our partnership with Cox. Our agents enjoy being there at the games on Friday night and being on TV and being able to be at those games with folks in their community, and it's just a really good partnership.
Well, I know you both did sports in high school, and so how exciting is it for you to then be out there on a Friday night, kind of in a different role than when you were maybe on the field?
Well, I tell you, it doesn't matter whether it was in high school or you're 50 years old. When you're out there on a Friday night, and it's not just watching the players, it's the bands and the cheerleaders and the student sections. And today, these student sections are doing things and carrying on with the crowd. It's really fun. It's exciting for us.
I know you mentioned being out there as well. What are some of the highlights for you when you're out there on a Friday night?
Well, there's something about Friday night football. There's excitement like no other place that you go. And at different levels, it's great, but that high school atmosphere is really a lot of fun, and it's just good to be there.
Well, and I know the Louisiana Farm Bureau is a big sponsor of the Cox 4 Game of the Week also. So to see the way that, you know, things have really changed in the past years with them being able to televise, you know, all different games every week, and just if you can't make it out there on a Friday night, you can still sit at home and watch it on TV.
You certainly can, and I tell you, I've taken advantage of that, and you know, it really is fun to watch these kids be rewarded with a high school game on TV on a Friday night, and sometimes they're family members that can't make it to the stadium, and they get the opportunity to watch their children play, so it is a reward for them.
Or folks from across the nation got the opportunity to watch Mr. Football from this season. Sure. Leonard Fournette performed several times on TV this year. I know that's the way that you both saw him. Just each of you, just take me through, I guess, Will, we'll start with you. Take me through your thoughts in watching him play.
Well, he's a pretty special player. And really, we got to watch him in the Under Armour game was one of the highlights that sticks out to me, you know, watching him play against some of his peers and some of the best players in the country. And he not only stood out in the games throughout the season, but he really stood out in that game too. Really special player. Good to see him in purple and gold.
We'll look forward to seeing him in purple and gold. One thing about Leonard is when you watch him play, he's so calm, and he's just so smooth on that field, and a very powerful running back. And again, like Will said, we do look forward to seeing him play on the college level, and certainly feel like he's going to do a great job.
Well, and I know, so you've seen him play on the field, and then you had the opportunity here today to meet him as a person. Just what were your impressions of his character? As, you know, that's something that a lot of people really discuss as being just something that's so great about him. Is if you didn't know his name, you wouldn't necessarily know that that's Leonard Fournette.
Yeah. He's certainly very, very, very well-spoken young man, and very polite, and very impressed with the way he carries himself at such a young age.
You know, we've gotten the opportunity to give this award to a lot of, you know, basketball players and football players, and it really stood out to me, you know, his demeanor and the way he carried himself. And, you know, just from the short meeting that we had with him, not only I think is he going to be a great player, but he's going to be a great leader in the locker room, and that really can't have too many of those. So.
All right, well, I would like to thank both of you for joining me today. And on behalf of everyone at Cox 4, thank you so much for your continued support of local high school athletics.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
We'll switch gears right now and take a trip to Natchitoches to learn more about the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum. The museum opened in the summer of 2013 and is the home of some really great sports memorabilia. Take a look.
The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum is located in Natchitoches due to lots of different reasons. The chairman of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame lives here in Natchitoches, as did his predecessor, but I think most importantly because of the leadership of Northwestern State University, who in 1971 said, "We believe the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame deserves a home, and we're willing to give some space in Prather Coliseum." The mayor of Natchitoches, the moment he found out there was even the slightest chance that museum could be located here, went and was able to purchase the piece of property that the museum is owned. The truth is, I will always believe that it was the leadership of Northwestern in giving this museum a home. The memorabilia that you see here in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum, most of it came directly from inductees and their families, who graciously either donated or loaned items that are family heirlooms, but they wanted to share with the world. Currently, what you see in the museum only represents about 25% of the memorabilia that we currently own or is on loan to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum. What you'll find in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is the best of the best. The selection process for the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is one of the most rigorous in the nation. A selection committee that is voted on by members of the Louisiana Sports Writers Association comes together. They spend about 4 hours having 2 weeks preparation where they have narrowed down those that they feel are most deserving. Each year, only 8 inductees are selected into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, and there is an active ballot of over 100 being considered. Very straightforward criteria. They do not deviate from the criteria, and the result is that year after year you have an induction class that any state would be proud to call their own.
All right, thanks. I've not yet been to the museum, but I've heard such great things that I look forward to making the trip to Natchitoches myself. Well, still ahead on the Mr. Football 2013 show, we will meet the man himself. Leonard Fournette is in studio after this. Welcome back. I am joined now by Leonard Fournette. He is Mr. Football 2013. Leonard, you have impressed scouts and sports writers and spectators all season long, and then you've made the big decision. You've decided to play football next season at LSU. Take me through that decision.
The decision, it was very crazy. You know, just from the beginning of my 9th grade year to my senior year, it was a very hard decision. It's always been on LSU and Bama, and just one day before my decision day, me and my parents got together late at night, and we was talking about the odds and evens for each school. And my mother told me pre-on my decision, and LSU was on my mind in the morning. That's the school I chose.
Was there kind of a sense of relief after you made that announcement that now people would stop, asking you and digging into every little thing you did, whether you were leaning one way or another, that it's out there and now you can just get excited?
Yeah, most definitely. Without getting all the thousands of calls every day, text messages, so it was a big relief for me and my family.
I think the cell phone bill probably is going to go down a little bit.
Hopefully.
Did you notice this season any kind of change in the amount of attention that you got after that nationally televised game that you guys had against John Curtis?
Well, it wasn't pretty much, everything was still the same, just people just recognize me everywhere I go and just congratulating me on the win me and my team did against John Curtis, the first team in 6 years from Louisiana to beat him. So it was a big achievement for me and my team.
You talked about how you kind of weighed, the pros and the cons of LSU versus Alabama. What were some of the pros, or what was, one of maybe the bigger decisions?
The biggest decision was my relationship with the coaches. Even though I had a great relationship with, Coach Burton Barnes and Coach Frank, and with Coach Nick Saban and Coach Les Miles. So it's where I felt most comfortable at, and I think LSU was the place for me.
Now it's been quite a year for you. A lot of different awards and just a great season on the field. Do any of your experiences from this past year really stand out to you, or what do you really remember most about the year?
I think my senior year this year was the best year for me, and this St. Aug period. And we made it far in the playoffs since the 2000s. So just becoming better as a young man and understanding the game as a football player, that's all that counts.
That kind of leads into my next question. I know you've attended a lot of different camps and met a lot of coaches, been taught a lot. But if you look, even just at this season, your game in August to your game when the season ended, what do you think you improved upon the most?
Leader, and just understanding the game more. Me and Coach Crutchfield, every time we in PE, we study film every day. Sometimes he give me ideas of what we should do, and sometimes I give him ideas of what we should do. I switch the game up. So I think there's a leader and understanding the game more.
All right, well, you made your big decision at that Under Armour All-America game, but that was more than just a football game. I mean, you guys go there, you practice, you get to know people. Just tell me about that experience for you.
It was fun, meet Brandon Harris for the first time, and Jacoby Washington, and it was just like a bonding session for a lot of people, like the great players you never get to meet, and they always talked about nationally wise, and everybody was like brothers, just bonding time.
Were you able, I know there was a lot of football going on when you were in Florida, but were you able to go and just enjoy the area at all?
Yeah, we had went to Disney World. It took us like forever 21 to go on a ride. It took us all day and night. So I think we were on the road like 2 rides. But other than that, it was in a hotel just talking to each other.
Do you like riding the rides, or do you get scared?
It was fun. It was fun seeing everybody scream and stuff.
Would you admit it if there was any of the rides that you were scared to go on?
Nah.
I didn't think that you would. We had an opportunity to learn about Booga Nation while you were at the Under Armour Bowl last week. Just tell me about the background on that.
The background is it's Booga No Sugar. It means real, not fake, and it means being united generates attitude. So it's as everybody can use. It's for everybody.
What do you think that you'll miss most about playing football? Look, I haven't even finished
school?
asking my question yet, and you're already ready with the answer.
Oh man, just first, the St. Aug band. I love that band. I don't know why. I love the band. And just putting on those jerseys, it means it's something different when it was something different when my last time taking it off. It brought tears to my eyes, just knowing that through my high school career, St. Aug was over. So I'm just gonna miss being a band, miss playing with my brothers.
Well, and at least your wardrobe won't have to change too much. You can take that St. Aug purple and gold and just turn it into LSU purple and gold.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, his head coach from this season, Cyril Crutchfield, will be joining us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are joined now by the head coach of the St. Aug Purple Knights, Cyril Crutchfield, and also his running back, Leonard Fournette, I guess former running back, which someone that you're going to miss.
No doubt about it, Aaron.
What has really impressed you the most about the way that he's really just handled all of the attention he's gotten?
Well, I think you know, he's a very conscientious young man. He knows what he wants in life, and you know, he has this relentless approach about achieving greatness, and he has it figured out, you know, step by step what he needs to do to be successful.
What was your take kind of on the recruiting process and his decision, and were you excited for that? Were you leaning one way or another? Just what were your thoughts about it?
Definitely excited for him, you know, because he has to live with his choice, you know, so I'm in that supportive role, and I know it was very time consuming, a lot of time, phone calls, texts, and him and myself both, you know, so it was actually a relief, you know, so I'm excited for him.
And I guess if you weren't very technologically savvy with the texting and everything before you had Leonard Fournette, you certainly are now.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Well, you've coached him for 2 seasons, so his junior and his senior season. Just what kind of a growth have you seen in him, not only as a player, but off the field in those 2 years? Well,
I think the most impressive thing about him is he's a real student of the game. You know, we spent a lot of time. I actually had him in my physical education class, and every single day he'd come in and watch film, or sometimes he'd call me at 10:30 at night or text and saying something that he would see on film, and I think that's what's going to set him apart from other young men that are equally as talented as him.
What do you think it is that makes him so special and gives him that drive to do things like that?
Well, I believe first and foremost is his religion, his belief in God, his parents, and then he just has this innate ability to be the very best at whatever he puts his hand to do, and I think he has this excellent approach, and he goes about it with a certain process, and he's gifted.
Well, then Leonard, I guess just talking to you, what are your plans, you know, from now until the time that you enroll at LSU when it comes to training and staying in shape?
Well, I'm running track. You know, I'm still on the track team. And other than that, just waiting until I graduate and school to be over so I can start at LSU.
All right. Now, I know I meant to ask you earlier. Tell me about just your relationship. You have a little brother who's just a year behind you in school, also plays running back. Just talk to me about your relationship with him.
Oh, my relationship with him, just by us playing, sharing the time in the backfield as 2 brothers, it was a great moment for me, you know, seeing my brother grow up before my eyes. And I enjoyed myself playing with him, blocking for him. You know, his first touchdown, I was excited for him. You know, his first high school touchdown. And in my eyes, that's something big for a big brother to see a little brother, you know, mature and grow as a young man. So I enjoy every experience with him.
Well, so Coach, you lose one Fournette, but you've got another one coming right back up there. And you're also, I mean, I guess 16 or 17 guys will sign letters of intent here coming up. So what expectations do you have? I know it's early, but when you look at what you have coming back for next year?
Well, our goal will always be the same, you know, so our expectations will be the same. We just have to go about it with a different approach with different young men. But we're excited to have Leonard Fournette back along with some other young men. So we're excited, and we've already started, and, you know, so the sky's the limit. So we're going to take our stab at it.
Leonard, tell me about the relationship that you have with Coach and just how helpful was he, you know, during this recruiting and selection process?
Well, you know, my first time meeting was my junior year, and you know, I was kind of shaking on how our relationship was going to go. You know, about us just having a coach that's transferred in and out. But you know, everybody was saying room was like he a bad coach, but you know, he was a great coach to me, and he still is. And I loved being around him. You know, even at practice, outside of practice, it's never a dull moment with him. I always have fun with him. And this my relationship, it grew stronger and stronger each year, you know, by us having talks, the team, by us opening up to each other as not as a team, not as team players or a coach, but as people, as humans. So it was a great experience.
Coach, as a coach, you often will brag on the talent that your players have, but what is it like for you to sit here and hear, you know, one of your star players say, you know, such great things about you and the relationship that you guys have?
Well, I wasn't expecting anything different because that's how he is with all walks of life. You know, I've sat in restaurants and people come up to him that he never knew, and just have a conversation like he'd been known for his entire life. And that's the type of young man he is. And it starts with his family, his belief in God. So I wouldn't expect anything different.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to the 2013 Mr. Football Show. It's been a pleasure to introduce you to this year's recipient, St. Augustine running back Leonard Fournette. We'd like to say thank you to all of our guests from today. I'm Erin Cofield. On behalf of Cox 4 and the Louisiana Sports Writers Association and Louisiana Farm Bureau Insurance, congratulations once again to Mr. Football 2013, Leonard Fournette.